Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about why you might want to seek out functional medicine care and what it is. Oftentimes I talk to people and they ask what field of medicine I practice in. I say functional medicine. And although more and more people are figuring out what it means and researching based on their own experience, I still get a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? So I really think it's important to explain what functional medicine is and why you might want to seek an alternative approach. So instead of giving you a specific definition, I thought I would point out 6 important things here on why you might want to consider looking at an alternative to traditional medicine. So the first reason is root cause medicine. So many times these days when you go to the doctor with your symptoms, you end up on a medication for this symptom, a medication for this symptom, and it ends up being a lot of medication versus in functional medicine, we want to know why. Not just treat the symptom, but get to the root cause of your illness and figure out why you have the illness in the first place. So while we do use medication, our goal is to figure out why and put the puzzle pieces together. And part of that is considering the whole person. We're not just considering you coming in with maybe musculoskeletal body pain. We're also thinking of your mind. What are your stressors? What's going on in your life? Your spirit, your emotional and spiritual well-being, and also important things, your genetics and environmental exposures. For instance, someone might come in here and be exposed to the same things, person A, as person B is, and only person A is sick and person B is fine. And it's a combination of genetics that they might have, environmental exposures. Maybe they have the genetics where they don't detoxify mold and different chemicals well, and they have lived in a house that has mold. They're going to be the ones that a sick response is triggered. So those things are very important. So the questions we ask, we're going to ask about your environmental exposure, chemical exposures, metal exposures, mold exposures, things like that. And look at your genetics. How are you detoxifying? And looking at that, that's super important. Because oftentimes the reason that people get sick is not a singular reason. It's complex and it's different for each patient. So the beauty of functional medicine is we're going to individualize this to you and spend a long time going through your history to figure out what your exposures are and what is the total toxic body burden. Because your body can handle so many toxins. We're exposed every single day. But there's a certain level that you reach a tipping point, and when you go over the tipping point, then you get sick. So our goal is to figure out why, considering the whole person. And then another important thing is we do multiple testing measures. We don't just look at your blood work, because the blood doesn't tell us everything. We're going to look at the urine to look for molds, metals, chemicals. We're going to look at the saliva to measure your cortisol stress hormones and also your other hormones. We're going to look at the stool test to look at your gut microbiome, which is one of my favorite tests. All my patients, we have a running joke, if you're one of my patients, you will do a stool test because 75% of the immune system is in the gut. So we want to look at the whole body, and the blood work alone is not going to give us the full answer. So we like to look at the full picture. I'll have so many people come in here and say, I had a blood work panel, it was perfectly fine. Well, first of all, it either wasn't extensive or it was, but we're just not looking at the other important factors. So multiple testing measures, very important. Longer visits, and this really comes back to point 1 and 2. If we're going to get to the root cause and consider your whole person, that's not going to happen in a 15-minute visit. Our first visits are around an hour, and follow-ups are 30 to 45 minutes, and sometimes longer. We want to sit down and take your full history and ask you in-depth questions to figure out what's going on. And that first visit is spent solely on that and on finding out the history. The next point is patient involvement in care. This is super important. Functional medicine is patient-oriented. Most people that find me have done their research, and they're taking all these great supplements because they're miserable and they're not heard and they're trying to figure out what's wrong. So my patients really are great. They do research, they take lots of supplements, but they really just need guidance, because if you look up on the internet, you could be on 80 supplements by the end of the day because there's so many. But we need to know, what do you need specifically? So while I am the one that guides you in your care, patient involvement is very important, and patient preferences are very important, and you will be heard in functional medicine. The last point, and really the most important one, I think, achieve a state of well-being. Our goal is not just to keep you unwell or prevent you from being unwell. Our goal is to actually help you be in a vibrant, healthy, well-being state. And so all these things are super important in functional medicine. And this is why I think it's so important that everybody really consider this, especially if you've been sick a long time, or you've been told it's all in your head, or you just have a lot of random symptoms that you can't piece together. functional medicine is really a great approach on figuring out what the root cause is and getting you well. So I just thought I would do this today and kind of tell you all what functional medicine is and why it's important, and it's helped myself and my patients tremendously, and I'm honored to be able to practice this way. So if you're looking for a different experience, give us a call. We're Restorative Functional Medicine. Our phone number is 865-367-9506, or you can shoot us an email at support@restorativefunctionalmedicine.com, and we would love to see you and answer any questions you might have. Have a great afternoon.